Have you ever wanted to drift around Japan? Well, now you can virtually with Japanese Drift Master. For those of you who don't know what JDM is, well, JDM is Japanese domestic market, but in this purpose it is Japanese Drift Master. This game has been floating around the internet for a couple of years now. I think it was first shown at Next Fest about 2 years ago. I actually have a short on my channel where I kind of like played this game. It's like a 40-50 second short just to kind of showcase the demo that they released for Next Fest. That was a limited demo, so that is no longer available. But on the plus side, we have JDM Rise of the Scorpion, which is available now to play. It's been available for quite some time to play, so if you've not played it, I don't know what you're doing, but if you've not played it, this is the time to go and play it because it is a good game. And it's actually kind of more than just a demo. It's a bit of a prologue for the full game that is coming out. It's that kind of its separate thing, so it's Rise of the Scorpion, whereas the original game will just be called Japanese Drift Master. The free Rise of Scorpion game was released on the 8th of August 2024, and very shortly after that they were at Gamescom, which I was very lucky enough to actually be there, and I got a chance to actually talk to some of the developers. When this game first started making the rounds, I did see a few comments saying that the roads were too tight to be drifted around and there was like too closed off a space. To be honest with you, that couldn't be further away from the truth. That kind of brings the whole aesthetic to this game. You are drifting around tight little countryside roads and it makes it so much more better. When there is a car in the way and you manage to successfully drift around it, when there's a wall right at the other side, it gives you that whole experience of being an absolute badass. When I first played JDM, there was actually no licensing to any of the vehicles, kind of like games like Car X, etc. Stuff like that is completely fine, and you can always kind of tell what the car is going to be. So in the initial demo I played a couple of years ago, I got to drive in the AE86, which is obviously the main drifting car which everybody knows from Initial D. And at the announcement of Rise of the Scorpion, it was a clear Nissan 350Z that you'd be driving. However, at that time there was no licensing, but now there is. The team behind this game has managed to get a licensing from Mazda, Subaru and Nissan. For a small driving game like JDM, which currently would have slipped right below many people's radars, especially with competitors like Gran Turismo and Forza who are very heavily with the licensing, it's actually incredible that these guys have got what licensing they have already, and hopefully they still continue and get even more in the future. The gorgeous scenery that instantly catches your eye is based on the beautiful mountain roads of Guntama countryside. The main story is shown off in beautiful manga pages which look really cool and have great artwork, but personally I didn't actually pay attention to any of it, so I couldn't really tell you what's going on. That seems to be a common thing for me these days. I think it's because I didn't want to spend my time reading, I just wanted to spend my time drifting. For the sake of this video and new potential drifters, I'll read the Steam page description. Just a warning, I'm going to butcher the names, I don't know Japanese names. But here we go. It says, discover the story of Hattori, quotations, Scorpion Hashi, an offspring of a traditional Japanese family who strives to become the best racer in the area. Strict parents and high school expectations won't stop him from becoming part of a drifting revolution. The story of JDM Rise of a Scorpion is a unique prelude to the events that will take place in the full release of JDM. Now we've got that out of the way, let's go into what really matters, and that is the gameplay. Despite the obvious game looking amazing, the gameplay is amazing. The cars feel so smooth and they are all pretty much pre-set up to drift. It's super easy to drift in them. Even in the slower cars like the MX-5, if you hit that handbrake, you're pulling out a drift. Some of the cars which have lower power, like the MX-5 for example, it is a bit harder to initiate a drift without using the handbrake, but it's still very easy to do. You just hit left and right a couple of times, kind of swerve your car out, stick your back end out, get a good drift going. But the more powerful cars and upgraded cars are where it shines. The main story mode car is a Nissan 350Z, which is a powerful car regardless, but when you upgrade it and add the turbo to it and all these new air filters and stuff, the car moves. It's so easy to initiate a drift and it's so cool to just drift around the countryside in. Of course JDM isn't like a full-on driving simulator like Assetto Corsa, it's got more of a Forza arcade sim style to it, and I really like that. It's a nice fun way to play. The main objective when drifting is obviously to get points, and you want to keep your points higher so you get more points for like great angles, extended angles, long drifts, and just the quick initiations, high speed initiations, etc. There's more ways to keep getting your points going. Obviously you have to keep it as a continuous drift to keep the points going up, but by doing extra maneuvers like getting good angles, you obviously up your multiplier and that goes quicker. So if for example you're on 10,000 points and then you get a ×3, when it cashes out at the end of that drift you get 30,000 points, unless you tap into like a wall or something like that, then it just sticks to the one and you get 10,000 points. It's all pretty standard self-explanatory stuff really. As amazing as this game is, unfortunately here is where we have an issue. As you can tell, I am using the Logitech G920 with the H shifter and it all seems to be working pretty grand. The problem is I have no handbrake. If I try to handbrake, straight into the wall, nothing happens. I have spoken to developers and I have been active on the Discord about it. Unfortunately so far there is no fix for my specific model. They are working towards this and they have fixed many handbrakes. The first issue they had was they designed this game based on a button handbrake which counts as a button, whereas my handbrake doesn't actually count as a button. When I go into the settings it does show my handbrake there as Arnido Leonardo. Bit gibberish to me, but apparently that's the chip that's inside my handbrake, and unfortunately so far they have not got that one working. My issue may not necessarily affect your experience in any way, however my handbrake is one of the cheaper ones, so most people these days will probably get a cheaper handbrake, because let's be honest, it doesn't really do much, it just moves, it's just a handbrake, it doesn't need to be anything special, it is the most basic part of a sim rig, to be honest with you. Fingers crossed that this update happens soon, especially before the release of the full game, because it really pains me to play this game on control pad, especially when I've got a sim rig sat in the corner. All of the gamepad controls seem to be working fine, however the left analog stick, holding that down is to look behind you, so when you are in third person mode and you're in the middle of a drift and you're kind of toggling the analog stick left and right back and forth quite fast a few times, it always flickers back and it's just really annoying because it kind of throws you off your drift, especially if it holds it there like an extra millisecond too long. It kind of throws you off your drift a lot of the times and it spins you out, which is something I would like to change. I've not had a deep dive through the settings to see if you can map it to anything else, but on the default controller layouts that's what it is. I think I have it on controller layout 2 because I play this game in manual, so I use the LB and RB to change gears and I use the triggers to drive, but this camera flicking malarkey is something that does my head in. The mini map in the corner is your phone, which is kind of cool, but the main map is beautiful. It's very well designed and it looks really pretty. Half of the map is covered up by clouds because you obviously can't play it in this prologue demo, but it gives us a little sneak peek of what is going to be in the full game. The main story mode missions are usually like battling somebody who's talking smack about you, etc., and you kind of got to show off your new skills, and they're quite fun, having like a one-on-one drift match or a one-on-one grip race. But once I completed this prologue, I can't seem to actually replay any of the missions again. I'm not too sure if that's a thing or I'm just not finding the setting, or at the end of the day it's just a demo. I can't really judge it too much on that, it's a demo. What I will say is every time I play this game, because I've completed it, it always starts at night time, and so far I struggled to find a way of turning it back to daytime. I managed to change it once, and what I ended up doing was going to some of the training academy missions, and then when I came off that it was daytime, which was nice, and that so far is the only way I can see to change the day and light dynamic when not in missions. You can go to car dealerships in the story where you can buy new cars, but you can also tune your cars at the tuner shop. You can upgrade the engine, suspension, steering, power steering and the brakes. Not only that, you can upgrade the visuals, you can put on a nice body kit and you can change the colour. It took me quite a while to figure out the drag races. You have to warm up your tyres and stuff and you have to get it to the right biting point, and then when you go you can zoom straight off and then change your gear manually to try and get the best speed. I managed to get silver at best. To be honest with you, I didn't really have that much fun in that mode, so when the game does come out I won't be playing that mode properly. I might just do a mission every now and again, but having this in the game is still a nice little touch. When it came to the cars, the 350Z was amazing of course. My favourite car was the BRZ2, which is, well, the car I want in real life, which I'm well looking forward to getting and I will get at some point, is a Toyota GT86, which is basically that car, except this is like the newer version and it's Subaru. When I discovered they can play the drift trials in the BRZ2, I was on it and I was getting some good scores on the drift trials. The drift challenges that you can select from the main menu are super fun. You can select a car from all of the licensed cars and you can drift around the map and get as high points as possible. And after about half an hour trying, your boy over here got 168th on the leaderboard, taking as a win. For some reason, I was absolutely terrible at doing the grip trials. We're not even going to talk about it. I was just really bad at it. I kept running out of time. I'm just going to leave that as that. But the grip challenges were quite fun. It's better for the grip challenges to take off the NPCs, because the NPCs are drifting around everywhere, and if they hit into you, you will lose a lot of time, and which does happen quite frequently. So if you turn off the NPC opponents, it's quite fun to aim for a nice target time. But while on the topic of the AI opponents, when it comes to drifting with AI opponents is really cool. So when you're sliding door to door with somebody, that is the big leads. That is the stuff that you want to see when you're watching drifting and getting to experience it through a game. Ooh, it is nice. And to be honest with you, it must be quite a hard mechanic to actually achieve well, because not many games have it. So that is another big win for Japanese Drift Master. At Gamescom, when I was coming down the stairs and I seen that JDM giant sign, I beelined straight towards it. This game did go hard at Gamescom, I'm not going to lie. As you're walking past, there is a beautiful RX-7 sat there waiting for cosplayers to take pictures with it and waiting for all the hardcore car nerds just to sit there and drool. After staring at the RX-7 for a while, I went and spoke to a couple of the developers who were super nice and helpful, and I explained my handbrake issue, and they were saying, yeah, they're on top of it, it's something they're looking into, and they were super nice about it. They gave me a free hat and a free t-shirt, which are pretty cool. They also gave me a free lanyard, which was pretty sick, and I use that on my keychain every day, and it looks pretty cool, especially when I'm getting in my little Miata. Since then, I've still had a little small communication with them on Instagram about the handbrake issue, just asking, is there any progress on this? And my handbrake is one of the cheaper handbrakes, which most people will be getting a cheaper handbrake. At the end of our little conversation on Instagram, they did ask for my email address and said that they'll put me on a playtest list. So far, I've not really heard anything from that, but if something does come from that, that would be great. Let's be honest, I'm just one small YouTuber who came to them with an issue, so if I get forgetting about, no hard feelings. I think I said quite a lot in this video, but all I can say now is keep your eyes peeled for JDM coming out this year in 2025. I'm not going to lie, it is one of my most anticipated games of this year, and there is a lot of big games this year, so that is saying something. If you like this video, please give it a like and a subscribe or comment. It all really does help me in the algorithms. As a very small YouTuber, I'm trying to up my game this year. I say that every year, but then Christmas period comes, I get super busy and I fall down again. But I'm back and I'm going to try and push forward again. So it's Mark from Modern Tech. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. It all helps me.